Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to pre-show before the free show. We're doing some maintenance on the other side of the studio.
Do we have any idea what we're into this play?
No.
It's very hot.
Our the power cord for our little monitor for Tepper to be able to see himself, which is valuable for a lot of different reasons, is corroded. Complete corrosion. So that's about where we're at.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into the pre-show for the free show. Does that work? I'm Greg. That's Ashley. How was your weekend, Ashley?
It was good. The family was in town, so that was nice.
Well, what were they in town for?
My brother and all of his roommates moved, so they were bringing up some furniture for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where'd he move to?
From an apartment to a house.
Was he living with you?
No. His stuff, along with all of his roommate stuff, was in my house for a collective 2 days. Because they had to move out of their apartment 2 days earlier than they could move in. So they were not homeless. Well, they were kind of homeless for 2 days.
So he did bunk with you for 2 days?
Yeah.
He did bunk with you. Okay. How was that? Was it just like old times?
Yeah. I mean, there were 3 of them. There were 3 teenage boys in my house. I made them pizza, and they seemed happy. So they're not super difficult to take care of.
You could have made them pizza rolls All the commercials I've seen have told me that teen boys love pizza rolls.
I love pizza rolls, which checks out.
Like I said, all the commercials I've seen have told me that teen boys love pizza rolls. So that could have been a real way to their heart if you wanted to really win them over. We went to the beach. We drove down to
Port Aransas.
Port Aransas. Drove down in a rented minivan, which was fun. It was myself, and it was my wife, and it was the two boys, and it was my mother-in-law and my father-in-law who flew down from St. Louis. Drove down to Port Aransas. That's a part of the state that I've never driven through, is kind of that South Texas coastal bend area, kind of. Even that I've been to Corpus, but I've flown into it. And so driving through that area between like Central Texas, San Antonio area, and the coastal bend was a fun experience. Like I said, I'd never done that before. Got to
Did
drive
y'all
through.
go down 35 basically the entire time?
We went down 35 until we hit the bypass.
Yeah.
And we took the bypass away, and then at that point we hopped on. Let's see, what was it? We got to 10, and then we went over to Seguin, and then we took 123 down.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
that's usually the easier way to avoid all the traffic.
So we got to go through Seguin, which I'd never been to. It was lovely. All these towns that I've heard of and I've covered for all these years: Stockdale, Karn City, Kennedy, etc., Pettis, all those little towns. Before we got to the beach, had a great time at the beach. It was.
Did the boys enjoy it?
They did. Didn't last too long on the beach.
Oh, really?
We probably. They're 4-1.
Yeah.
So, we probably spent a grand total of about 2 hours, 2.5 hours on the beach during our 3+ day stay. They were much more interested in the pool.
All right.
And the playground next to the pool, so we spent a lot of time there. But had a good time. It was Thursday, it was not all that crowded. Thursday was fine. Thursday wasn't a problem. But every day got increasingly and drastically and aggressively more crowded.
Oh, yeah. It's the weekend.
And Saturday was a zoo.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday at the beach was a zoo. Well, that's the day we only lasted about 45 minutes on the beach. For a number of different reasons, but one of them being that it was so crowded, and it I guess it didn't dawn on me that it probably is the last weekend of summer for
most everybody.
Kind of everybody. So it was a lot. But we had a great time. The boys had a great time. The boys you kind of take for granted that we know how the ocean works, and they don't. So both of them got surprised by waves at different times.
I think I still get surprised by waves.
And they just keep on coming. They thought the ferry was great.
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know, if you've never been, there are 2 ways to get from Aransas Pass over to Port Aransas.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is a very long kind of roundabout way where you go through Gregory and Portland and Corpus Christi, and then you take a bridge over to Mustang Island, and then you drive back up north. And it's probably about a 45-minute round trip, or 45-minute drive, rather.
The bridge is cool.
We never ended up doing that because they like the ferry so much.
Yeah, that's fair.
The other way is that there's a ferry over what is it's a very short ferry ride.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 5 minutes.
Yeah, you
maybe
usually
even,
wait longer in line
yes.
to get on the ferry than you're actually on the
but
ferry.
you're at the mercy of the line for the ferry, and you're at it's 24 hours, and they do a great job of getting them in as quickly as they can, but they've only got 4 ferries, and so they're getting as many people across as possible, and there's only I think about 20 cars per ferry, and so but the boys thought that was very cool. On the way back, we stopped at we stopped in Temple at a prominent beaver-based gas station that is not a sponsor. A prominent beaver-based gas station. And that was the third largest city in America at that moment. We
fair.
probably went through there at about 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
2 o'clock or so.
On a Sunday?
On basically the final Sunday of the final weekend of summer.
Yeah, that
and
was a mistake.
we walked in. We went on the way down, but then we said, let's stop on the way back. We stop on the way back. And when I tell you that I've been in that particular establishment a lot because I've driven through Temple a lot. And I've seen it crowded. It was 3 times as crowded as I've ever seen it. It was insanity there. It seemed like the entire state of Texas was crammed into this particular gas station. So we ended up piling back in, and we all held it until we got back to another gas station where we could actually use the facilities. We ate in Seguin on the way down, and then we ate on the way back. Oh, we ate in Lockhart.
Oh, nice.
We ate in Lockhart. I'm going to lose a lot of my Texas credibility because we went to Lockhart and we ate, as you normally do, at Dairy Queen.
That is very Texan.
There's people who are screaming at me right now about you didn't eat at Black's, you didn't eat at Kreutz, you didn't eat at Smitty's, you didn't eat at any barbecue places. And I'm like, guys,
you got a 1-year-old.
I got a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old.
That are in an 8-hour car ride. There's a lot worse that you could have done at Dairy Queen.
I'm not competing with a dilly bar at that moment in time.
No.
A dilly bar is going to be, or a soft serve, is in the end going to be the real winner there. But yeah, we did take your advice when we were in Port Aransas, and on Thursday night, because we figured that was going to be the least crowded night at restaurants, and we were correct. We went to Snoopy's.
The best. The literal goat.
The Snoopy's, which is just I want to put this in a way that characterizes I liked it a lot. It was really great. And I want to be clear, please remember that I'm saying this part before I say the next part. It was really great. Everybody had a great time. The food was excellent. The views were good. It's all very good. All very good. All very good. Remember I'm saying this. All very good.
You should just stop there.
Every restaurant down there serves the same food. They all have the same menu.
No.
It's all the same.
Well, the menu is the same.
It's all this. Every food, every. I'm sure it's great. This was the only restaurant I tried in Port Aransas, and so.
I will agree with you that the menus are
menu's
primarily the same, but the way that the fish is made is very different from place to place.
I have no doubt. I have no doubt that there are great places, and this place was great, and I have no doubt that there are not so great places, and we didn't experience that. But it was like we were driving, and we originally were going to go to one place, and then I brought up your recommendation, and we changed course. And part of the reason was, well, just look at the menus. They're just the same menus. It's the same kind of food. It's fried shrimp. It's fried fish. It's hush puppies and things like that. But everybody had a good time there. And then next door to Snoopy's is Scoopy's.
Correct.
Which is the ice cream shop, which Hank thought was just the greatest thing that's ever existed.
That I really told you that because of Hank. I knew my boy would pull through.
He did. He enjoyed it. That little boy has now, I think. We're not a big ice cream household. Usually, I think he's had ice cream 5 times in 3 weeks.
That's a good
which
way
is
to
for
live.
him a lot.
Yeah.
But then we got home. It ended up taking us probably about 9 hours, all things considered, to get home because traffic was tough and all that fun stuff. But when we got home, Hank went upstairs and he had his big summer fun list that he made at the beginning of the summer. And the last thing on it to cross off was go to the beach.
Let's go.
And we went there and crossed it off. So, mission accomplished.
That's
Summer is over.
I'm pumped for Hank.
It's a good time. All right, hit the theme expo. Pickle! Hit the arrow sign. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show on the internet. My name is Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, a magazine, texasfootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live, texasfootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all the places, or listen to the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part. Support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She's the Duchess of the Dork. She's Ashley Pickle.
Hi, friends. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Today is Monday, August 7th, 2023. It was, I just had this up, 108 days till Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to you. You can pick a baseball player, a football player, or a hockey player.
We'll go football.
Happy birthday to Channel View's own Jalen Hurts.
Oh, nice.
Jalen Hurts turns 25 today.
Oh, my.
25-year-old Jalen Hurts. 25. It's also
hurts.
Mike Trout's birthday. He's
Okay.
32. It's episode 1000.
We get to see him next week, do we? Is he back?
Oh, yeah, I think he's back. It's episode 1626. On today's show, folks, we got headlines from across the state, including there were some additional realignment ripples.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about that. Plus some very, very late coaching change, and then some other coaching news in the high school ranks. We'll get into that. In the back half of the program, back at coaching school, we caught up with the head coach of the Mesquite Horn Jaguars, Coach Courtney Allen. We will hear from Coach Courtney Allen coming up here at the back half of the program. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Andrew Christensen, Ed McElroy, Aaron Arbuckle, and Zill0678. Welcome in, fellas. Lady fellas, robots.
Welcome in, everybody. We appreciate you spending a little bit of your Monday here with us. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe like not last. No, it's not the last Monday of summer because like a lot of teachers are back at school today.
Yeah.
Is your mom back at school today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't start until tomorrow with kids, but today's teacher work day. But they started last week. Fully.
Last week, so
Yep.
her summer's been over for a minute.
Yep.
Yeah, her
Yep.
summer's been over for a week. It's a tough scene. It's a tough scene.
Most schools up in DFW are starting on this Thursday. That's crazy. They're starting on the 8th and the 10th this year. That's so early. They do get out before Memorial Day, though. Most all schools that are starting this early.
And Memorial
the calendar
Day,
also falls a little strangely this year.
Because Memorial Day is the 27th this year, which means, you know what I mean. The next Memorial Day is the 27th, which means that if they go until the Friday, that means their last day would be May 24th.
Mm-hmm. And that's early.
Which is just like, I just remember getting out like June 7th.
Yeah,
like
we
June
used to get
7th
out
was
June.
always-
Yep.
Yeah, June or maybe, it might be late, like the last day of May or something. But anyway. All right, let's get to some headlines from across the state of Texas. And this is kind of adjacent to Texas, but will obviously have some impact on the way that that college football operates in the state of Texas. And that's the latest realignment drama. So this all went down. We talked about it last Monday about Colorado announcing that they were going to be leaving the Pac-12 and joining the Big 12. Last Monday, last Tuesday, one of the days. And joining the Big 12. And we said on this program, please look for an additional move.
Mm-hmm.
There was going to be an additional move. And we highlighted 4 teams to keep an eye on. 3 in the Pac-12, Utah, Arizona, Arizona State. And then 1 in where's UConn? Are they independent in football?
Yes.
They're Big East in basketball.
Yeah, they're
but then they're independent in football.
Yep.
Or UConn. And there was all these rumblings that came down in the middle of the week about how the Pac-12 is falling apart. A lot of this has to do with the fact that they still don't have a TV deal going forward after this year. They still don't have a TV deal. But that there was all this rumbling that the Pac-12 is going to fall apart, that the quote-unquote 4 corner schools, the Utah and the Arizonas, were going to be bolting. They're going to be leaving. Thursday morning, kind of the tune changed, and there was this renewed hope and this renewed optimism from the Pac-12 people that, never mind, they've got a plan. They're all going to come together and talk about the TV deal, and then they're going to all hold together. These final 9 schools there at the Pac-12, because remember USC and UCLA are leaving, Colorado leaving the Pac-12 or Big 12. With those 9 remaining schools, you can hold, if you hold those teams together, add in a San Diego State, add in a Boise maybe, you can hold it together. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if you were to go and hold that together. If you could hold that together. But then, kind of in a cavalcade flurry of moves that I think followed that, from what I understand, that Pac-12 meeting on the TV deal, in which apparently they went to him and said that they were going to be on Apple TV and that their revenues were going to be tied to the amount of subscribers that they had.
That's a nightmare. I mean, that's just a nightmare.
That's when it was abandoned ship. Mm-hmm. And everyone ran for the lifeboats.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Arizona State, and Utah all announced they were joining the Big 12. They're all going to join the Big 12 starting in 2024. Oregon and Washington did some negotiating through the media and got themselves a pretty sweet deal where they will now be landing the Big 10.
The Big 18.
Which now leaves
the forgotten 4.
4 teams left in the Pac-12. Cal, Stanford, Oregon State, and Washington State. Now, there are people, to tie this back locally, there are people who are probably getting real Southwest Conference vibes from this. Because this is a lot of how the Southwest Conference played, which is that the Big 8 and the Southwest Conference more or less kind of decided to merge, and there were teams that were on the outside looking in. TCU, Houston, SMU. It took TCU decades to get back into a power conference after kind of wandering in the wilderness. It took Houston decades to get back into a power conference. SMU still trying to get back into a power conference. I want to, and you don't need this from me, certainly, but I want to, if you're looking for somebody to give you permission, I will give you permission to think that this sucks. It's okay to look at this situation and look at the state of college football and say, this sucks. That what we're seeing now is functionally 2 power conferences. Like the Big 12, that's great. They are not on the same level as the Big 10 and the SEC. That's not really up for debate. Look at the revenues. It's not really up for debate. You're having these 2 power conferences, and then you have the ACC and the Big 12. You're having a 100-year conference in the Pac-12, formerly the Pac-10, just die. I mean, who knows? Cal and Stanford, I think, have an opportunity to land somewhere. Oregon State and Washington State are screwed. Like, they're gonna join the Mountain West.
Yeah, because even geographically, theirs just doesn't play in anyone's favor.
No.
None of those teams do.
No, I mean, with Cal and Stanford, at the very least, there is an academic prestige that comes along with it. And Stanford wins a lot of championships in a lot of different things. Cal too. And so there's some value there. Washington State and Oregon State, they're up a creek. Like they are somebody, I think it was Stuart Mandel, tweeted something stupid this weekend about how he thought this was like relegation, except like relegation is not about necessarily like who pays the most. It's about who succeeds on the field. But if you want to talk about being knocked down to the group of 5, like Washington State and Oregon State's days as a power team are done. Like it's over for them. And it's okay, I think, to look at this and just say that this kind of sucks. And that college football is not in a healthy place. I was listening to, I want to make sure I give credit to Split Zone Duo, who had a really smart podcast about this. And a lot of what this comes back to is that there is no central governing authority in college football. Do you know who runs college football? The governing bodies of college football? The TV networks. They're the college football commissioners. They're the ones who created the college football playoff. They're the ones who are ultimately deciding who's in what conferences. The TV networks, like ESPN, Fox, CBS, NBC. They're the ones who run it. They run college football. And, like, we've known that for a while, but to see it fleshed out in a real way, it just kind of sucks, and I think it's okay to say that it sucks. I think you need to give – I think some credit is due – not some credit, a lot of credit is due to the Big 12 and Brett Yormark. I keep saying Brent. Brett Yormark, who looked at the writing on the wall and said that it's better to be early than to be late. And for years and years, we, under the previous administration, under Bob Bowlesby, we sat here on this program and lamented how the Big 12 was always reactive. They were always reactive. They were never on the front foot. Like, they lose Colorado and Nebraska. Okay, we'll hold it 10 teams. Then they lose Texas A&M and Missouri. And then they're like, oh, okay, well, now we got to go grab some teams. They get TCU, they get West Virginia, right? Now, certainly, you can look at this recent flurry of activity as a direct result of Texas and Oklahoma leaving. Certainly. But Brett Yormark looked around and said, only one of these two conferences is going to survive, the Pac-12 or the Big 12. And it might as well be us, which is why they moved up and basically renewed their TV rights and jumped the line in front of Pac-12 and sent the Pac-12 scrambling for their own TV deal. Now, there's a lot of different – I won't get into the specifics of the Pac-12 TV situation, which has been a disaster since Larry Scott was in charge of the Pac-12. All this is to say that give the Big 12 credit for being proactive and saying, we're not going to wait for our teams to get poached. We're going to go poach your teams. And they did that. They're adding 4 teams. And by the way, they may add UConn. UConn makes a lot of sense. If they just want to go and make their own, especially from a basketball perspective, a power conference, they could absolutely do that. It's a brave new world in college football. Obviously, the expanded playoff is going to make this so that conferences matter less and less. But if you are somebody who misses the days of the Southwest Conference, right, and you thought that college football was better in the days of the Southwest Conference, there are people on the West Coast right now who are experiencing that right now. And it sucks. And it's okay to think that it sucks. And that college football is in a worse place holistically than it was before this. I think that's okay. Because that's what I've been thinking about. I just think it kind of sucks. And by the way, there was another really smart piece that I wish I could credit it, but it was I want to say it was like a Wake Forest writer, but I read it about how there is an inevitability of another thing that's coming down the pike, and I want to make sure we put this on wax here. So these conferences and these conference TV deals, which are sculpted ultimately by the television networks, they are a conglomeration of rights and the types of they're a conglomeration of these schools and the reason that and these brands fundamentally. And the reason that Texas and OU went to the SEC is that they wanted to join that stronger brand, and the reason the SEC is welcoming them in is that they believe that Texas and Oklahoma have their own strong brand to make their product better. Right? We are not far away from teams getting kicked out of power conferences. Vanderbilt, watch your back. Wake Forest, watch your back. Rutgers, watch your back. If this is truly the way that college football is going to operate, and there's no sign it's going to slow down, and it is going to be as cutthroat as this is, then what is to keep the Big 12 from saying, we don't need you anymore, West Virginia? And that's all fun to think about until it's your team. And I don't know that there's any brand in the Big 12 that's left that is overwhelmingly strong enough to be locked and loaded and for sure never going to get kicked out of the Big 12 if it comes to that. Because let's just say Florida State wanted to join the Big 12, but you got to kick out a team to do it. Brett Yormark will do that. That's the inevitability of what's coming, guys. That's what's next. And it is a vicious world in college football that is only going one direction. And as TV money gets squeezed more and more, and there are more limited resources available to conferences, everyone's going to have a knife. And everyone's going to need to make sure that they're ready to fight, because college football is becoming a very it's a confederacy of independent teams, independent operations that all have their best interest at heart, with no governing body other than TV networks who have a monetary reason, a reason to be in this monetarily. And that is kerosene on a funeral pyre potentially. So I watched this stuff with the realignment this weekend, and it's interesting to gawk at. And certainly we'll talk about what Arizona means as a Big 12 member, and does Utah become a power in the new Big 12? We'll talk about that. There's plenty of time for that. But if you take a step back, the college football landscape got more dangerous for your favorite team unless you are one of the very, very tippy-top teams this weekend. Anyway. Elsewhere across the state of Texas, there was a pretty late coaching change, which is a little surprising, I think, out east. Let's talk about what's going on in Greenville. This was back on August 1st. Greenville, Darren Duke announced his retirement last Tuesday. Came down that he announced his retirement. He has spent the last 20 years there as an assistant, and then since 2016, he's been their head coach. Went 2-8 this past year, but he decided to retire on August 1. 2 days later, Greenville made a hire, which they needed to, because practice is going on for everybody today, regardless. Every Texas high school football team can practice today. Greenville has hired Randy Jackson to be their next head coach. Randy Jackson has been retired from high school football since 2020. He bounced around. I saw him at coaching school. He bounced around. He was coaching in Germany the past couple of years. Said he really enjoyed it, but he's coming back home to Texas. He's going to take over the Greenville Lions. He's 170-78, had a couple really good years at North Forney, at Mesquite Poteet, and has been in the high school football world, knows his way around high school football. But there you have it. Randy Jackson's going to be the next head coach there at Greenville after a surprising kind of late retirement from Darren Duke. And finally, this came down just today. We've talked a lot about about what's going on in Wichita Falls. If you don't know, to reset, Wichita Falls ISD is going through a massive overhaul right now. Mm-hmm. They have 3 high schools: Wichita Falls High, Old High. They have Ryder High School, and they have Hershey High School. 3 high schools. At the end of this school year, 2023-2024, they're going to close all 3 of the schools, and they are going to open 2 brand new high schools. So they're going to take 3 kind of older high schools, varying degrees of old, close them all, and move all 3 of those schools, consolidate them into 2 brand new high schools that they've built. I don't remember what the names of them are quite yet, but they are I want to say they're kind of boring, to be real honest. They're not. It was like Wichita Falls North or something like that. Anyway.
Yeah, I think they were very directionally based, not necessarily named after someone or anything.
Or even with Frisco, Independence or Liberty. Well, Wichita Falls ISD has been looking for a new athletic director, and they found one in a familiar place. Wichita Falls ISD has hired Grant Freeman to be their next athletic director. Wichita Falls, he's, of course, a friend of Dave Campbell's Texas football. He's been the head coach at Wichita Falls for the past few years, done a great job there, took them to the regional final last year. in a terrific run with the Coyotes, the father of Dub the Coyote. He is going to be the next athletic director at Wichita Falls ISD. Now, he is still going to coach. For 2023, the final year of Old Hot. He is still going to coach the Coyotes. To be clear, this is not a coaching change. There will technically be 3 coaching changes because 3 schools are closing and 2 are opening. But Grant Freeman is going to be the new athletic director at Wichita Falls ISD. Congratulations to him. Our friend Grant Freeman is going to be the next athletic director there at Wichita Falls ISD. Again, he's going to coach the Coyotes in 2023, their final year of existence, and then he's going to move into an AD-only role there at Wichita Falls ISD. So congratulations to him. Yes, very, very happy for him.
Well deserved.
And that is headlines from across the state. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Now, a word from these goods and services.
Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texans love doing business with fellow Texans. VCR Now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state. It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR Now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful, long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk, the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW.
The Gambling Gauchos are a Texas Tech podcast serving you money lines, memes, and Matador content on Twitter, YouTube, and StakingThePlains.com.
Well, let's put it this way. They pay me off in tortillas, I'm going to shoot them right in the eye.
If you're looking for more Big 12 sports content from a host who wants a 25 tacos in 20 minutes and another that can provide a taco bites per minute analytical breakdown of the feat, then Rob and Kyle are the hosts for you. New episodes every Sunday and Thursday on the Republic of Football podcast feed.
While we're back at the THSCA Coaching School and Convention in Houston, back a couple of weeks ago, we caught up with a number of coaches at the DCTF booth. One of them, the head coach of the Mesquite Jaguars, Coach Courtney Allen. In his first year there with the Jaguars, he matched their win total from the previous 3 seasons combined. 8 wins in 2019, 2020, and 2021 combined. 8-3 in his first season there with the Jaguars. Excited to see what's next for Courtney Allen there at Mesquite Horn. Here's our conversation with Mesquite Horn head coach Courtney Allen here on Texas Football Today.
Matt Stepp, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, back here at the Texas High School Coaches Association and Convention here in beautiful Houston, Texas, here at the head coach of the Mesquite Horn Jaguars, Coach Courtney Allen. Coach, appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with us. Good to see you.
Man, you know, I got to spend time with you, dog.
Yeah, we got to hang out.
Yeah,
I was getting on to Wheeler. I was like, where is Coach Allen at? Wheeler's you were at a basketball lecture just now, weren't you?
Yeah, we had both our boys and girls coaches speaking today.
How'd they do? They did a good job?
Man, we got the best coaches in the world at home.
There you go. Well, that's a good thing. I saw your athletic director, Cody Groves, yesterday. So I told him I had some plans to come to Mesquite ISD and see the Horn Jaguars play this year.
Right.
As you know, Mesquite ISD among the media is amongst our favorites. We love coming to games in Mesquite.
But, hey, we want anytime you come to a game, man, we feel like we big time. So
nah, that's when Roach and those guys show up. You know, that's when those guys
Roach,
show
that's
up.
my dude too.
Yeah, me and Roach and Powers, Roach Powers, and Colin Simmons, we were out and about last night.
Oh, yeah?
We were making the rounds last night.
Man, yeah.
So first off, Coach, coaching school is always a big deal. It's really kind of the start of the season and kind of lets everybody know that when you leave here, it's kind of time to flip the switch and get you kind of head out of summer mode into fall mode, right?
Yeah. So for us, it's kind of a different year for us. The start of we had spring ball, so the start of practice is August 7th. and the start of the first day of school is August 7th. So we have no time to waste. When we get back, we're hitting the ground running, getting ready to go.
So you won't have you won't get to do those. Nobody does 2-a-days anymore. I guess they kind of do the longer days where they kind of. But you guys are starting school so early. But I guess it's a good thing and a bad thing because you'll have the kids on campus, right? Already.
Right. Yeah, it'll be different though. Because usually you'll get maybe 10 days before school start, but this time we getting right into it. So the kids been there all summer though. So it'll be fine.
I mean, kids need routine. Do you feel like maybe it's an advantage because you're starting school so they'll already be in that routine? Because you can kind of get them in that flow and kind of get them where they need to be, get going. Especially the freshmen, right? They need structure,
we start the freshmen on July 31st.
So you give them a week,
right? Give them a week, yeah. So we'll get them going and get them in a scrimmage set up at Red Oak and let them play a little ball before school starts. Those are the ones that the first day of school really going to bother.
Those are the ones that might be late getting to the field house.
I already know.
Then you have to get on to them a little bit and let them know that's not the standard, right?
It's not the standard, man.
So you will have a second freshman scrimmage for your freshman guys?
Yes.
Okay. How big is that, the UIL giving – they did that about, 7 or 8 years ago where they let the freshmen, even if you had spring football, they would allow the freshmen to come in when the small schools are starting up.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. This is the transition. They know us. We know them. They've been there all summer, but to actually just spend that one-on-one time to coach them, from the varsity staff on down, all their attention is on those kids. So it's good for them.
Okay.
So I'm a big fan of it.
Last year was your first year there at Horn.
Yep.
This offseason, how much more smooth has everything gone? Because you got your feet on the ground, you got your staff established. How much more just of a quote-unquote normal offseason has it been for you guys?
Oh, it was everything. Last year getting there, I was pretty by myself. A couple of guys from the previous staff stayed to help. Which was great for those guys, and I'll be indebted to them forever because they didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
But now having my guys here with me, it was like clockwork. Just getting it in and just keep working on the culture, working on the kids, and people kind of know what you're looking for. You're not really teaching again, so that was huge.
And then you guys had a successful season because I know we talk a lot. And when you first got there, you were drinking from a fire hose a little bit. You get your heads on you're going 100 miles an hour. Now you've had that chance but you still had that ability to have a great season and get to the playoffs and turn that thing around after a couple of down years at Horn. But I know for you, as competitive as you are, getting to the first round of the playoffs, finishing second in district is not where you want to be. You want to win the district championship and then get into the playoffs and make a deep playoff run.
Yeah.
With your ball club that you have back, with all the experience you have coming back, what do you think is going to be the key to living up to those expectations? Because I personally have high expectations for you guys, but how do you what do you need to do to live up to those expectations?
Well, I think the biggest thing, first of all, I appreciate you with the expectations.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't do it because I like you. I like your football team.
Right. No, it's our business. They're in love too, but
But it means more though.
It does. It does. Whenever Step says something, it's gold. But looking at this team coming back that we've assembled now, man, it's more so about growing some of the best talent that we have in our program are young guys, right? And I was telling the coach earlier today, the first 4 games are going to be so crucial for us as non-district games. You're never going to go out there trying to lose a game.
No.
But
you're way too competitive for that.
Right. But this is the most varsity-ready group of sophomores that I've ever coached in my life. So getting those guys those quality reps. So to answer your question, their growth over those first 4 games are going to set the standard of what this team is really going to look like when we go to the district.
Run me through your non-district schedule real quick. Who do you have?
Well, we scrimmaged in Ryan.
Okay.
We play Plano West, Arlington Bowie, Tyler High, and Arlington High.
Okay. The Arlington game is the one I might be at. So
okay.
Tough non-district schedule, good teams. They'll prepare you for your district because your district is tough as well. You got a lot of. I talked to Coach Harris earlier, and he talked about how tough the district is.
It is.
It's week in and week out. It's kind of a grind, but that grind will have you guys ready for the playoffs.
Yeah. And when you look at you start at it when you do the scrimmages, man. I want to put my team in front of somebody tough. And we were fortunate enough that Coach Hennigan and I were both looking for an opponent, and it worked out. And so I think it'll be good for both of us to set the tone going into our seasons. But you're right. You don't want to just breeze through stuff. because you get to the playoffs, your team not ready.
Yeah.
You know, so I think we have a good enough schedule to get us ready, and just we got to go play our game.
You want people in non-district especially to expose your warts, right?
Absolutely.
Because you can fix it then, right?
Absolutely.
If you don't get exposed and you're 10-0, and then in the first round of the playoffs you get exposed, well, you're airing up basketballs,
Absolutely.
right?
Yep.
So you want to play people like that because if you get exposed in September, you can fix it, right?
Absolutely, man. And that's what the name of the game, man, is can we improve over these 4 weeks before those games really count?
Okay.
You know,
okay.
so that's where we dig into the detail a lot, trying to find out what is it going to take for us to make a run through district before we can make a run in the playoffs.
Because you can't make a run in the playoffs unless you make a run in district, right?
No.
Okay. All right. Final question for you, Coach. You're a foodie like me. You like to
Yeah.
eat. We like to get good food on the road.
Yep.
So, and I know when you were going, you went to Texas Tech's clinic. You guys called me in Abilene, and you're looking for a place to eat. Now I love Mesquite. You know, they feed us at Mesquite ISD very, very, very well. I'm sure your assistant coaches have told you about this. And
I don't get to eat it, right? But they do, right?
I mean, here's the thing, though, Coach. If somebody brought you a plate down, if you were up 50, it probably wouldn't look too good, you know, for the media. So you got to kind of, just got to kind of let your guys in the press box have at it. But outside of the stadium, if I'm coming to a game in your part of town, Cartwright, you know, if I'm coming over there, is there any spots I got to hit up pregame?
All right, so it's 2 spots. Over there by Harris, have you ever had Mesquite barbecue?
No, I've heard of it, but I've never had Mesquite barbecue.
Try that.
Okay.
It's
Is that over by Mesquite High?
It's right next to Mesquite High. It's like right across. They mess with me every time I come over there.
Because you're wearing your horns.
Man, I go over there on lunch all the time.
Because it's a bunch of skeeters over there, right?
Yeah. Dude charged me up the first time I went in there. My son played DN. We gonna beat y'all. I said, all right, cool. So I'm gonna beat this sandwich real quick.
But the food is good, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your go-to sandwich? What do you get? Because lunch, you can't go too hard at lunch.
So, no, I'm going to tell you what. I do, man.
Okay. You're a big lunch guy?
I be wrong, man.
Okay. Pickle makes fun because I'm a big lunch guy, too.
Dude,
I love big lunch.
So, no, I get the baked potato, right?
Okay.
But I get 2 ways. I get it with the beef and links or beef and chicken. They cut it up. Oh, dude, trust me.
Did you get it fully loaded with the cheese and the sour cream and the onions and chives and all that?
Depending on what time I eat it during the day, man, I got to go for a walk because I may go to sleep in that house,
you don't want the itis, right?
Itis will jump on you, man.
All right, what's the other spot?
Okay, so it's a Mexican food spot right by Horn called Diaz de las Tacos.
Okay.
Let me tell you, sir.
Okay.
It's everything you want.
Okay. What's your go-to taco order? You got one yet, or do you get everything?
You get the Taco Tuesday, obviously.
Obviously Taco Tuesday.
They got the quesadillas, the rice and beans. Oh man, listen, I'm hungry right now.
Steak or chicken?
Both.
I'm a both guy too.
Both, bro.
I say why not have both, right?
Yeah,
why not
both.
get both? If I can get both, I want both. So.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. Well, appreciate your time. Congratulations, all the success in 2022.
Yes.
Good luck in 2023,
Yes, sir.
and
Thank
we
you.
appreciate what you do for student athletes in the state of
Same
Texas.
here to you, brother.
There he is, Courtney Allen, head coach of the Mesquite Horn Jaguars, our guest there at the DCTF booth at the THSCA Coaching School and Convention in Houston a couple weeks ago. We sure appreciate his time. Excited to see what the Jaguars do in year 2 after what it was a really terrific leap in year 1. So appreciate his time, as always. Let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts?
I know football's not necessarily starting this week from a streaming perspective, but if you are getting the itch of just being ready to be back into the fall sports schedule, we will have the John Turner Classic volleyball tournament on TexanLive.com this weekend. We will be broadcasting close to about 300 volleyball games in the span of 3 days. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, our guys will be out there. It's some of the best volleyball across the state. So if that interests you, please go to TexanLive.com this weekend and get your volleyball on.
Interesting. So it's like, is it one of those tournaments where there's kind of like games all day? Or is there, okay.
Yeah, there's 12. We'll have streaming setups on 12 different courts going all day long. There's usually about 8 games on each court. So we'll be right about 300 games of volleyball you can watch this weekend on TexanLive.com.
TexanLive.com. It's getting going right now, folks. So go check that out. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks again to Courtney Allen, head coach of the Mesquite Horn Jaguars, for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please give me your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.